Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much again for joining us today in the forum. I see almost 130 people here. Thank you again for sharing some time with us. At this point, I think we are going to have a couple of quick updates. But again, remember, this is your time to ask us questions and hopefully for us to answer. My light keeps going off here in my office. We are working along as almost all of the members of the office are working remotely. Everything seems to be working pretty well. The work volume is increasing as yours are. I'm sure everybody is in the same boat. We have lots of vacancies that we have been trying to fill. In some areas, we have been successful. We have been filling some, but still we do have a lot of vacancies. So hopefully you would be more patient with us because some of our projects are, they cannot go forward as fast as we could do them before when we were relatively fully, most of the positions were filled. At this point, still we have more than 15% of our positions vacated, and that causes obviously slowdown in some areas. We depend on you also to make sure that like proposals, Kelly is going to talk about that. We need to really have enough time to push the proposals out of here, and hopefully more funds would come in. The budget issues we all are aware of. We are waiting for the decisions of the campus regarding what areas might be impacted. The leadership of campus fully is aware that while we, for a long time, we have been doing more with less, there is a limit how much we can do more with less. And we are all trying to find areas of becoming more efficient. And efficiency also means that some things we are doing now, we might not be able to continue doing. But still we have to serve the researchers of the campus, making sure that projects go forward in our office proposals and awards. But especially in negotiations and areas that we have to negotiate agreements and complete awards, things are going to slow down. It's just that's fact of life, and there's nothing we can do about it. Hopefully, awards would not be lost, but if proposals come in last minute, chances are deadlines are going to be lost. So with that, let's start with the updates. I think, do we have any? Kelly was going to give us some updates from proposals. Kelly?
Good morning, everyone. To kind of piggyback on what Ahmad talked about, I want to remind everybody that federal agencies actually recommend that proposals be submitted at least 2 business days prior to the submission deadline. We know that's not always a feasible thing for departments to do. We know PIs a lot of times work on their science up until the last minute, but we are asking that we get at least 2 hours or access rather to the proposals at least 2 hours prior to the submission deadline. We had one proposal last week. We didn't get access till 5 o'clock on the dot.
Seems like we lost Kelly. Kelly, could you repeat what you said? I think the connection, at least I didn't hear what you said, the last couple of sentences.
Okay, we know it's not always feasible for departments to give us 2 days, but we are asking for at least a couple of hours prior to the submission deadline. We had a proposal last week that we weren't able to submit because we didn't get access until right at 5 o'clock. So if departments could really push PIs to finalize everything at least 2 hours before the deadline, that would be great and give us ample time to make sure that we are able to do a final review and submit those proposals. Along those same lines, please submit proposals to us via Cayuse as soon as you possibly can. We've seen a lot more last-minute proposal requests lately, and we've been getting some feedback from departments that they're waiting until they're perfect before they submit it. And while we love perfect, we don't need perfect. Almost perfect is perfectly okay with us too, because it's better for us to receive something and give us time to review it and comment than something that may be perfect, but we don't have time to review, so we can't ensure that everything we would look for is accurate. So again, 2 hours at least for final proposal packages for submittal, and just get everything to us as soon as you possibly can.
Well, I would like to piggyback on what Kelly just said. I want to make sure that we all understand that when she's saying 2 hours, it doesn't mean that this is the first time, obviously, we see your proposals. And no, I know she said for final review, but please be informed and be on notice that if we suddenly get 20 proposals the last 2 hours, some of them are going to be dropped. It's just that simple. There might not be bandwidth enough for us to push everything forward. Also, while everybody is working in the office with the high speed of internet in the office with 100 megabytes, which is in the office, things are different compared to normally how fast the internet is from offsite. It's not as fast as the campus. It's just that's again a fact of life. And if you wait to the last minute, you are gambling that something might not get through, and nobody can prevent that, unfortunately. So we have to really all work together.
May I ask a question?
We meet all of these deadlines. Did I hear somebody had a question?
Yes, I hear what you're saying. But I think that we have the same exact conversations that you're talking about. And we would, I don't know, an account manager who wouldn't want to get it in 5 days ahead of time. So when you're saying, make sure you get it in, make sure you get it in, are you thinking that it's the account managers that are holding us up or the PIs? Because we all have the same talks that you're talking about here.
I fully agree with you. We are all on the same side. And again, and I do feel it. All of us, we understand that the PIs, they want to do the perfect work. And they are, they are doing the right thing from their point of view. But unfortunately, lots of them think that maybe, this is the only proposal we are dealing with. So no, in no way we are pointing at anybody, blaming anybody. We are putting everybody on notice. I know that you guys are doing a great job. Actually, in some ways, I'm sure that the work at the department is much more difficult dealing with these issues than in central offices. I have seen these from all sides. So in no way we are saying that some department personnel are not doing the right thing, and we absolutely sympathize with what you go through too. But this discussion with the PIs, and when there might be unfortunately unreasonable expectations, I would be more than happy to talk to the PIs. I talk to the deans about these things. They know what we all are facing. As Kelly was saying, in no way we are saying that all of the scope of work has to be perfect when we do our final review. Knowing that, again, a researcher wants to do the best job on the scope of work, and maybe up to 2 minutes before submission, they are fixing something in the scope of work. That's their right. They want to have the perfect proposal. But guess what? They are taking chances. We want to make sure that they are fully aware of that. When a deadline is missed, I hear about it, and there's a lot of frustration. And a PI who has worked on a project for, I don't know, maybe 6 months, unfortunately might lose the whole thing and has to wait for another round of call for proposal. That's what we are trying to prevent.
Yes, and
all of us
I
are realistic.
That. I appreciate that, and I hear what you're saying, and we all agree with you. I just felt the need to point out that what you're saying, trust me, we're all saying, and we're having these discussions with the PIs with, you got to get this to me. You got to get this to me. Get me a draft. So yes, we hear you. I guess that's all I wanted to say is yes, we hear you, and we do the same things.
Again, thank you very much for all of this. Among unfortunately, the members of the campus who are on this forum, the percentage of the PIs is not that high. But in this discussion, and I know that there are several PIs right now in the audience. If we reached one of them, I'm sure they would help us talking to their colleagues and help us. So that's the purpose of this. We are all on the same side, and we want to make sure that everything is done properly. And we are here to help, and we bend backward to help, as you do in the department. But all of these adverse consequences, unfortunately, again, it's like people who lose their jobs. When you talk about job ratelessness, or the percent of unemployed is X, whatever it is that X is, 5%. For a person who doesn't have a job, the percent is 100%. So when a PI loses or misses a deadline, it's just really, it can be the end of the world. So we want to stop that. But I fully agree with you. I don't think anybody in this office would say that the slowdown is because of something that our colleagues in the department are doing. Absolutely not. We are all on the same side. We are all saying the same thing.
Thank you. And just to piggyback on some of the chat messages, the proposal team has been amazing. And I don't know if Jeff's here, but he is just the biggest rock star ever. So yeah, you guys are doing a great job too. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the support. Kelly, anything else?
No, not for me, but I'm happy to take questions at any time. You can always email me directly.
Thank you. Same here. Okay, let's hear from our Grace on the award side, please.
Okay, good morning, everybody. First order of business, I want to introduce our new training officer in SPO, Perry King. He joined us last week, and he's been reviewing the training resources on our website, on our YouTube page. And if you have any ideas of topics that you want to be trained on, or a better delivery mechanism, please let Perry know. You can also email the OR training website or training email link that's on the website. But anyway, the training is for you guys mostly. So let us know what you would like to see, or if anything could be improved, if anything is confusing, okay? And I did pass on the notes from last month to him, and we'll be talking about, maybe how to give people more hands-on training to progress in their research administration careers. All right. One more thing is Perry has also been really good about getting the recordings from the last two research forums. So January and February research forum recordings are now on the YouTube site for those who missed them. There was some really great information out, and they're not on YouTube. And we will, of course, be keeping up the upload schedule from here on out. Okay, from the award side, I just have two items. One is I want everybody to know that if you're getting federal marketing board awards, they might be held up because of an issue with intellectual property language. The USDA Agricultural Marketing Services, AMS, they want this intellectual property language that's kind of problematic. And we've been working with other UC campuses and UCOP to negotiate with different marketing boards, and going up to the agricultural marketing service people about why this is problematic for the UC. So, we're working on it, we're aware, and these terms are appearing in different marketing board awards. So it's just kind of a, if it's not being processed as fast as it was in previous years, it's because this new term has been added. And another just kind of process change, but that will make life easier for all of us. On January 25th, we added to the Cayuse IPF a PI certification regarding prohibited telecommunications for federal awards. Okay, for those of us on the department level and sponsor programs level, we don't really see it. So if they're applying for federal money, they're certifying that they will not use prohibited telecommunications in that award. So for amendments or awards in which the IPF was certified prior to January 25th, we're having to get informed participations, okay? And so we have a form, and the awards team will send that out when it's necessary. But basically the PI will certify, via the informed participation that he or she will not use prohibited telecommunications in projects. And let's see, that's all for me right now. But if you have any other questions about awards, you can send me an email.
Thank you, Grace. Regarding the last item that Grace discussed, the use of restricted telecommunications, I have received a lot of responses from the campus showing the frustration that we all know that lots of equipments we use, most probably they came from China, and their prohibitions are against items that have been generated in certain companies in China. That's how the federal government has put the restrictions in place. Unfortunately, we don't have any control over that. That's how it is. Grace has been working with the leadership of IT on campus. That's the best we can do. The federal government, as a condition of some of these awards, they are putting the restriction in the award documents. We are subject to them, which means that if we are not able to follow those restrictions, we should not be able to accept the awards. That's that simple. For us, obviously in central offices, especially in sponsored programs, there is no way that we would know if anybody is using these equipments or which labs they are using them and so on and so forth. And the only way that the whole system, actually across the country, all other universities are dealing with this issue is exactly as Grace talked about. We have to ask the PI and get verification from the PI and the department that they are in compliance. That's all we can do. I know that some PIs have said that, well, I can't control everything that my postdocs and students are using in performance of the agreement. Unfortunately, that's not excuse. If the federal government comes in and sees there's a problem there, there are going to be some consequences, including probably penalties. I am not aware of anything going on across the country at this point as far as the enforcement of that issue. But federal government is very serious. That's what they are telling us we have to do. So again, unfortunately, we are all in the same boat. We are all subject to the same rules. And as a condition of accepting the awards, these documents have to be signed. It's just that simple. If a PI or a department is not able to sign the document that Grace talked about, we have to talk. Unfortunately, the award cannot be accepted. Okay, so let's see, James, are you? I saw you somewhere here.
I am here. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. I have just a couple things, just to, I don't know, common thread. Perhaps everybody feels like they're stretched with all the work that we're trying to do. I will say that with CGA, we had a good, breadth of time where we were significantly short-staffed. We feel like we've turned that corner now, and we've been bringing a lot of great people on. But maybe still same kind of thing, a little bit of patience. It takes a little while for everybody to get up to speed, but we're feeling pretty good that we will be able to help out a little bit more than maybe we were able to for a little chunk of time during the last year or so. I just a mention, just for those of you that might have this type of award, with if you have an award that has participant support involved in it, please do work with your fund manager to make sure that you're setting up a separate account to capture those participant support costs with 0% indirect. We had an NSF site visit a month ago or so, and they were very interested in understanding our processes around participant support. So please, just heads up, remember participant support. You don't necessarily have specific object codes that are going to be exempt from indirect, so we control that by putting all of those costs into one account that is set to not charge any indirects. Does that sound good? Okay. And I guess my update is short and sweet as well here. So a couple of you have asked about the new chart of accounts and Aggie Enterprise and those types of things. I'm planning to kind of have a little conversation along those lines in this research admin forum next month. I don't want to get ahead of the official campus announcements and things that will be coming out, I believe in early April. I think I'd rather wait until we have the official kickoff before we open that conversation with you all. Last thing I wanted to mention is with the FNA, I checked in, and where we are with that is there is a virtual site visit scheduled with the feds on April 5th, early April, I think it was April 5th. After that site visit, it's a space survey site visit. So there'll be virtual, walking around with webcams, looking at lab space, et cetera. Once that's completed, they'll start negotiations. Mike LeGrand is hopeful that by the end of April, he'll have some rough numbers that he'll be able to share to perhaps incorporate into proposal development. He's not ready to do that at this point, but the whole, hopefully, again, we never know, but we're just, estimating. Hopefully, we could have a formalized agreement in place by May or June. That's what I'm hearing from Associate Controller Mike LeGrand. And the plan is to keep the first year of the new agreement flat at 57% so that there's no immediate adjustment that needs to come into play. And he asked me to mention also that OP is still working on the fringe rates. So all I can say about fringe is OP is still working on it. So those are the few things that I wanted to share with you all. And I don't see any questions popping in. Again, as I mentioned earlier, this is your time to bring things up and try my best to answer them. And we have some other CJ folks on the call here, so they could help as well. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, James. Any question from anybody for any of us?
I see a question just popped in about effort reporting. I should have had that on my list. I'm spending so much of my time recently dealing with this effort reporting question. I think I was just, suppressing it. We're still working with OP to get some data in. We're finally receiving most of the data files. We've started loading those files yesterday. That process takes a couple of days. The problem at this point is there is, there's another set of data that OP has to send us because apparently there's a good set of data that was missing from the other normal files that they sent us. So they're going to send us another file. It's not clear exactly when we'll receive that. We're supposed to see a test file, I think today, to see if, a sample 10 lines makes sense. Once everybody's confident that process could work correctly, they're going to send us a big additional data file. Our understanding from what other campuses have had to do is going to take us a couple of weeks to go through that data file and scrub it here locally. They're not sending us necessarily, it takes a couple of weeks. So long story, even longer, it's at least 2 to 3 weeks out before we're going to be able to generate effort reports, maybe more like a month. So thank you for the reminder. I'm sorry I can't say, well, we're going to take a pass on effort reporting this year because we still do need to complete it.
James, you have another question there in the chat.
Heather, is PI ledger review 100% on track? There's a glitch in the PI ledger, and that one, I know that I've seen some, I think I don't know, it's not yes, it's 100% on track to be fixed in the near future. How about that? Yeah, and unfortunately that issue complicated the issue with the missing effort reports, because we rely on the PI ledger to show auditors, in the absence of an effort report, that at least there's some kind of control going on. Yeah, and Deborah just confirmed the PI ledger's in the final stages of testing. So Deborah, anything else we should share?
No, I think you summed it up pretty well. I mean, the effort reporting, we've got a few weeks at best, and the PI ledger is hopefully going to be out in the next week or so. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll be mostly running. We've got another couple of bugs that have come up, just to set expectations nice and low. Yeah, and we've got a big update for the cost share system coming.
Okay, that's the other thing I was to say. We have all the cost share system application is also being, can we call it upgraded? I mean, I think what campus, would you like to say a little something about the cost share application, Deborah?
Sure. So we, the admin IT group had determined that the database that we were working on was really insufficient for the amount of data that we had in the cost share system, and that we were using some tools that maybe weren't the best tools. So they have swapped out the database for a new type of database, and it's been kind of a long road to get that all tested. But everything seems to be working. It's working faster than it was. It's calculating, bringing up new screens quicker. We're just checking right now to make sure that we've got data accuracy and that all the functionality is really working the way it's supposed to. And we should hopefully be seeing that again within the next couple of weeks. Seems like every week it's next couple of weeks, but they're on the verge.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, with that, I'm done. Thanks, Deborah.
Thank you, James. So any question from anybody? And as we know, I was listening to James talking about all these different things. I was thinking about, in the past, I mean, members of this team, everybody who is on the call right now, they took also this opportunity to exchange information between departments. So if you have best practices or something that you want to share, we really would like to hear from you. And if you have questions from your colleagues, the questions don't have to be only from the ones who are talking here, from my office or accounting. There are experts all around the campus, and we should be helping each other. So please feel free to just ask questions from each other. Whatever you want to do here would help all of us. So I guess there is nothing else coming up. Well, let's see, there is a question coming up. James, do you want to look at this? There's a question from Heather in the chat.
To track COI pending funding, I don't know that we would know anything about pending funding.
I don't know what it means. Heather, do you want to explain it, or?
Yeah, are we talking about anticipated funding? I mean, what does pending mean?
She says anticipated.
Okay. So you would go to your awards and look at, under the awards, there should be anticipated years built out. So go to any project, click on the awards, and you'll see what awards are obligated and what awards are anticipated. So I think that should help.
Do you want, Grace, do you want to explain what that means really in our system? How do we set those up when we have enough information to do that?
Sure. So what's obligated means we have an award in hand that says we are hereby obligating, year one of this award. Now, the project period could be 3 years. So if they're only obligating year one, we view the next 2 years as anticipated. However, it's not in hand. So at any point, the sponsor could decline to give us that funding. But as of year one, we are anticipating that years 2 and 3, this money will come through. Anticipated funding is most easy to understand when you think of NIH awards, because most NIH awards are for multiple years, and they give us the funding in increments. So year one increment is obligated, and then years 2 and up are anticipated. But we build that out in the project. And for a lot of other awards too, if we propose 3 years, okay, and we get year one and it's silent on years 2 and 3, we're also going to assume that years 2 and 3 are anticipated because that's what we submitted. All right, so I see a whole bunch of okay, yeah. Is this just, if this is in reference to current and pending support, you can update your document when something, okay.
Okay. Anything else? Seems like Gwen wants 1 minute to say something.
Okay, so sorry, I'm just looking at the issue with another investigators in another department. But you can still go to the project and look at look at a grant and see what is anticipated, right? So if you know what projects are currently going on, and you want to know whether somebody else in another department will get anticipated funding off of that project, then you should be able to figure that out from the project level. Now, if you're asking whether you can just search by somebody's name and all their anticipated awards will pop up, that might not be possible, if that's what you're asking.
Gwen, thank you very much for the information regarding application for staff advisor to the regions, which is open right now. Thank you for posting that. So maybe those people who are interested in that, that information is in the chat that Gwen just put in there. Thank you, Gwen. Mm-hmm. Thank you again. So let's see. We are getting more people joining as we are talking right now. I guess they bought their tickets late. So for those who joined, there are lots of good information in the chat. I don't know if you can see those when you join now, but there's a lot of exchanges in the chat that you might want to look at. Harry, when these things are recorded, is the chat also available in the recording or not?
The chat is not available, but I could provide a separate file that includes the chat. Grace, you'll receive the chat after the meeting, I presume. So you can just send that to me.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have anything else to talk about? Anybody from, I don't know, sponsor project, accounting, departments? Last call. Well, I guess if not, our next meeting is going to be in April. And what's the date on that? It is April 21st. So we'll see you all then. Let's see, there's another message that says April 11th to 17 is National Student Employment Week. Unfortunately, where we are right now, we typically have a couple of students, but during the last year or so, we haven't been able to use any students. So hopefully the offices would open soon and our students can come back too. Thank you very much. Let's stop the meeting. We will see you next month. Take care and stay safe. Bye-bye.